YouTube, X, how we doing? PPS here, Pass the Prop back here yet again, NFL show. We're breaking down Thanksgiving slate. We're even going to talk about Friday's game as well with the Bears and Eagles. As always, joined by my guy, Stu. How you doing, man?
Pretty good. Can't complain. It's a great time of the year for football. I mean, obviously, these Thanksgiving games are literally awesome. Like, they're some of the best I can remember in recent history. Obviously, a good slate of games to talk about. And it's just a good time of year as well. Thanksgiving's fun. I love having, seeing family, eating good food, all that stuff. So, yeah, I'm just excited, ready to get some bets in and hopefully break down some pretty good games.
I am making sure I put the link out early here just because I know we're going to be on here a little bit longer than usual when we got a four-gamer. We got 4 games to talk about today. Super excited there. Let's kind of talk about last game. We had the Panthers at the 49ers. Obviously, the 49ers covered. Purdy looked like shit. 3 picks. J.C. Horn had his 2 picks and then got hurt. Obviously, if he's out for any extended period of time, that's tough, right? Losing J.C. Horn, obviously he's a stud. So very intrigued by that. What did you take from that one?
Nothing besides the under. I took the under 49.5, and I mean, it went as well as expected. So yeah, no, it was a disgusting game though. I mean, I had really no bets. I was telling you, but yeah, I couldn't. I was gonna. Dowdle was the closest I could get to receiving, but I just didn't feel like it. I don't know. And even early, Chuba kind of took all that usage too, and then obviously garbage time he went over. But yeah, just I was on the sidelines for this one, man.
Yeah, I think I just had that. I really just had that. I had fantasy matchups where I was facing McCaffrey. Luckily in those I was up like 35-40, so I didn't have to sweat too bad. McCaffrey still put up 25, which is a pretty solid outing. Yeah, we get to cash in on a plus money spot. We had Mooring. I know we just talked about it a little bit. He got in trouble. He punched Juwan Jennings in the nuts in that game. Obviously, the actual scuffle happened after the game. Shout out to Jennings for not throwing hands right away, because that would have really kind of been tough if I would have lost him earlier than that one. But a lot of high tackle numbers on the Carolina side. That's kind of what we expect, when we have, a team that loves to live over the middle of the field in that short yardage and a lot of run plays. So shout out Mooring, did get there plus money and continues our winning ways.
Yeah, no, this was nice, obviously, like you said, even with the controversy there at the end. And yeah, it was pretty smooth sailing. So good call on this one.
Yeah, so we ended up getting us up. I think we didn't get Tremble, right? I don't think Tremble ended up getting the end zone there.
Who even scored? Oh, Tet scored.
Tet scored the yard, the one down the sideline. But that moves us over 14.5 units on the season. I know I don't know if you get the notifications on your YouTube when I'm commenting to people. Did you read any of those?
I don't think so. No.
You should look at them. I'm getting roasted by these guys. I'm like, that we're not doing good on primetime. And I'm like, bro, we literally are here 3 times a week. We give you bets every single time, and we're up 14. I don't know what you could want. I don't know if you're just expecting us to be up 30 at this point. Like, I wish we were up 30, but yeah, you'll have to go look back at that last video's comments, because it's weird. Like, I got roasted for playing a defense prop. Like, bro, I didn't want to play anything else in that game, and then he ends up getting there. I'm like, what? I hated that game. That was literally the only bet I had in the entire game. So yeah, those were fun little discussions had in the comments section of YouTube. So
I just read it.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, what are we complaining about? We're actually winning money and they're free, dude. Like, we're just doing this.
I was gonna say, I've kind of sucked this year, so if you want to hate, just DM me instead. Like, on the show, it's been pretty good. So
yeah, so it's
and also, what is wrong with the tackle prop? Like, they're on.
Like, money's money, man.
I guess FanDuel doesn't have them, but no, you've been really on tackles all year. Like, I don't know why that would be surprising to anyone,
Yeah, no, yeah.
Hey, no tackles today. If you're there and you're mad about it, don't worry. We got some regular ones for you. So
yeah, it's unfortunate. I would have had a tackle prop if they listed any tackle props here.
Yeah.
But I looked already. The only defensive prop they allow you to take is, will there be a safety in the game? So
beautiful.
We love that, right? We want to bet that, right? That's what they want us to put our freaking money on. So
maybe we'll save that for the weekend for like Shador or something, like none of these guys are getting safetied,
Yeah, dude, I'm nervous this weekend because I have the Browns defense. I'm just nervous that I'm going to have so many short fields against my defense in that game against the Niners, but we'll get to that on our Friday show. We got a lot of stuff to talk about here, so we can get right on into it. And I will kick it over to you to start us off in this game because obviously I got a lot to talk about with my Packers. Packers get to start us off on Thursday morning, Thanksgiving morning. You just get your first plate, right? Getting that first plate. We get to see the Packers at the Lions. It's 2.5 now. We're seeing that line keep moving down. DraftKings is giving us 2.5. I think we have a couple threes out there. I'm just using DraftKings specifically for all of these, so we're on the same page. But I think it opened 3.5. Now it's on to 2.5. I don't know. I know that the Lions won last week. You can't really feel comfortable about that because that was a fucking horrible showing against the Giants at home. Right? Like that was not impressive. I was obviously Jahmyr Gibbs did his thing, but we talked about it on Friday's show how bad that Giants defense is against the run. They got shredded. Wasn't really impressed with Goff. He pretty much just threw the Amon-Ra. My issue here is the Packers, have fast enough linebackers to match up a little bit, right? There's no one who's going to be able to match up one-on-one with Gibbs, right? Gibbs is a freak. But I'm going to kick this over to you, Stu, to pick one of our four sides. We're at a 48.5 total here in Detroit, Thanksgiving Day. What is your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, no, I will say I have stronger takes for these next couple ones where I do like some sides and totals. I think these lines are pretty fair, honestly. I think if Green Bay got to +3, that would probably be where I'm going. I kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier in the week when we talked about like the Green Bay's been pretty bad over the last month, but I really do feel like they're kind of a play down to their competition and play up to their competition kind of team. Josh Jacobs being banged up is kind of concerning. He's going to play, but he hasn't been able to test his knee in practice at all this week. So you're just going in with Josh Jacobs kind of like you got no clue. It looks like Kirby Joseph is going to be out again. It's interesting because he's been a very good tackling safety and stuff like that, which has actually really hurt their run defense when he's not in. I don't know. I mean, Green Bay wants to limit explosives, and that's kind of what the Lions want to do. And like you said, the Lions looked really bad last week. So I'll just take the Packers on this one. I don't have a super strong take. I think this is a pretty fair number. I think some spots might have a 3 right now. So if you have that available, that's really the side I would probably take. But yeah, I think it's going to be a close game. But yeah, I don't know if I can trust the Lions to really cover by more than a field goal right now,
Yeah, no, I know it's going to be unpopular. I kind of like the under in this, honestly. I kind of like the under in this game. I don't see the Packers giving up too many explosive plays on that end, right? Dude, I don't know if I can stress this enough how big Laporta being out is, bro. Like watching them run those routes for Brock Wright, it's like this dude's slow as hell, bro. Like he's a good
too. It might be Dwelly, smelly Dwelly.
Oh my god. But you could just tell even in their last game, like I'm watching Brock Wright run these routes, he can't run past anyone, right? And Laporte is like that new age tight end where you can make explosive plays with him. I don't know. You're taking away that. J-Mo didn't look like he gave a shit about playing football last game. Like 3 or 4 targets, and then he saw Amon-Ra got 12, and he just stopped playing. Like, he wasn't even doing shit. He had no receptions. He just disappears, right? So I know Nixon got banged up for the Packers last game. I think he'll be back. Didn't hear anything about him missing specifically. But, yeah, I think I lean with the under. I just don't see the Lions creating too many explosive plays. I think the Packers were more than welcome running the now two-headed monster now with Jacobs and Wilson. Wilson looked really good last week. I think we could see, probably 35 carries probably on the Packers side. They love to make these games look like shit. And you also got to remember the Lions should be coming out a little fired up because I think the last time they played the Packers were like 7 or 8 point dogs and they beat the shit out of them on Thanksgiving in their house. So I'm excited. But I think if I had to pick a side right here, I take the under 48.5.
Yeah, I mean, even to start the season, it was a beatdown. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I just think the Lions, they can pace up any game. And once again, the Lions rush defense should be playing better than it is. With the talent that they have. And Green Bay is a run heavy team, but they're not an efficient team. They run 3 yards at a time. You know what I mean? So I would much rather bet Emmanuel Wilson rushing. I know it's already up to 30. But I do not see Jacobs being in a full role with no practices off an injury there. So, yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I kind of am curious what happens if Love lets it fly a little bit more. Obviously, Christian Watson has been one of the more popular plays this week. I agree. I'm a big fan of Christian Watson, although I want to wait and see if Jalen Reed is back, because aren't there rumors that he might be back?
Jalen Reed, I think, practiced limited, but I haven't seen him come off the IR yet.
Yeah, I've just been seeing some buzz about that, and even some speculation. I don't think he would suit up, but obviously, if he does, that might get you a little bit of a discount on Watson there. So it's interesting. I mean, I don't know. I want to see Green Bay throw the ball down the field a little bit more, because you can do that against the Lions. They're one of obviously the weaker downfield teams. They play a lot of man coverage. They play a lot of single high. And Jordan Love, he throws the ball down the field. He's not a dink and dunk kind of guy. He's a home run hitter at times. So that'll be kind of what I'm looking for. Is he able to take advantage of those opportunities? If he's kind of pulling away and checking it down, then I think that's probably a bad sign, going forward. But this is a big game. I mean, obviously both these teams here, if the Packers lose, this is huge for their playoff implications as well. So yeah, they got to get this win.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm excited for that one. We both don't have a bet in that game, so we will not be digging in too much deeper here. Obviously, the people's main event. Obviously, I mean, there ain't much else you need to talk about. You got Dak Prescott playing in primetime. What else could you want on your Thanksgiving? Only thing I'm nervous about is I'm going to my wife's Thanksgiving, their wife's family's Thanksgiving during this game, bro. During the Super Bowl, I'm going over there. So I'm nervous because all of the sisters get pissed because they're my wife's got 3 sisters, and they all get pissed when we're watching the games. But then her dad enjoys football, so he always turns it on for us, and then I just get glared at the whole game. But I'm gonna still be watching. Dak's ready. He's ready for me. I'm ready to bet on him again. Stu, I'm gonna let you take this one away here because you already know I'm talking bets in this game.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is one that same with you. Obviously, I'm probably going to only be catching most of the second half. First half will probably be family time, which is you could have just put this one as the late game, then everyone's around. Everyone's freaking around. Instead, we got to probably watch a blowout, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully it stays closer. But either way, like you said, this is the game of the week. I'm on the Cowboys. I bet the Cowboys. I bet them at plus 3.5 on Monday. You asked me what I was betting during that Monday Night Football game. It was not that game. I was looking ahead to this week. And yeah, I like the Cowboys. I don't think they're that different. We've been talking about them all year. And once again, you're obviously kind of presenting the more positive perspective, and I've been trying to balance you out a little bit over here. But I've said it every single time. The Cowboys are way better than their record. When you have an offense like their offense is, you can play with anyone out there. And guess what? They added a couple pieces. They got Overshown back. Now the defense is looking pretty solid. It doesn't have to be good. It just has to be solid. And the Chiefs have really not impressed me in a long time. You know what I mean? They've struggled a lot. I feel like their weaknesses are kind of obvious too. They've been really struggling with man coverage a lot. They've looked their worst in these man heavy games, which obviously the Cowboys do not play really any man coverage. So that's good for them. But yeah, the total kind of tells the story right here. This should be a high scoring game. 2 great offenses. Will Mahomes be able to hit those downfield shots is kind of, I think, what's going to decide this game, because obviously Kareem Hunt coming off a freaking 30 carry game against a great interior rush defense now is not something you like. And how much do you trust Pacheco? I haven't seen a real positive sign out of Pacheco in a year and a half at least. So it's one of those things where I like the Cowboys. I think this should be more like 1.5, 2. And I'm surprised it's even stayed on the other side of 3.5 this long. So I don't know. I mean, I know it's kind of a must-win game for both teams, so you can't really use that argument either way. But yeah, I just think the Cowboys should not be underdogs like this in this matchup, especially with those upgrades. I think this is a fairly even game.
Yeah, I think I know the answer why they put it at 3:00, bro. Not only do they think everybody wants to watch it, first off, but Post Malone's probably going to be fucked up by 7:30, bro. That boy is performing out there. That dude's gonna be hammered, bro. You gotta remember the words to his songs, man. Because I saw the video of Jerry Jones talking to him or whatever. I'm like, Jerry, I would love the Cowboys so much more if you just shut up and didn't go on my screen. I think I would love the Cowboys so much more, but just he's everywhere, and I just can't stand him. But it's all right. I my love for Dak is better than my hate for Jerry Jones over there. But I'm obviously really excited for this game. I think that this one's going to be even a little bit more fun, just because we saw how good that Chiefs run defense was against Jonathan Taylor last time, right? That pretty much, what did he average? Like 2.8 a carry last game. He was like, I think he only had like 40 yards. So I'm excited. Hopefully they'll be able to slow him down there. I think it's hilarious too. Before I get into my bet, I don't know if we got 100 people in here live with us across Twitter and YouTube. I don't know if a lot of you guys have been here, but Stu's adamant hate for Logan Wilson and how bad he is. I think it's hilarious now. Whenever I watch these and they say all these new additions and they keep bringing him up, I'm like, they bring up Overshown once in a while, but I'm like, Overshown is like 20 times better than this dude.
Yeah.
But now every time I hear it, I'm just like, oh, Stu ain't gonna like that, because it's just like the additions of Quinn. And yes, Quinn Williams has been fucking great, dude. That dude has been stuffing it up, but we knew that, right? They gave him a first round pick for him. But then they always throw Logan Wilson's name in there. I just think it's hilarious because I know how much you despise the guy. I think it's just funny that he always gets thrown in there, right? Yeah. That he's good and he's the reason this is happening.
Yeah, I mean, and he's been solid so far, but it's like it's the name value thing. And once again, it's the thing that he's always done where he's good in rush defense and can't cover a brick. You know what I mean? And he hasn't been asked to a lot so far, but I mean, hey, Travis Kelce out there might be a different story. The biggest thing is how healthy is Overshown, because that's a big deal because he's not playing his full allotment of snaps yet. He's the guy you kind of either want on Kelce a decent amount or even maybe like spying Mahomes. And if he's not playing his full workload, then man, I would love to see Kelce. Well, I mean, Kelce would love to see Kelce one-on-one against Logan Wilson. So we'll see, but we'll see if it keeps going or not. But yeah, no, I mean, he gets bumped into it every single time. And like you said, they never say Overshown, which is like, come on, man, the guy's a fucking beast. But yeah, we'll see. And one more thing too, Quinnen had a 28% pressure rate, 8 interior pressures last week. I mean, that's just nasty. And now you got offensive line injuries for the Chiefs as well. No Trey Smith. Like, whoo, he's going to have a good game out there. And that pass rush is pretty good. Mahomes is going to have to get the ball out very quickly.
Yeah, and I'm going back, dude. I'm going back. I had a 2-unit last week. Dak made it 2 units. I'm going back, and I'm rolling with him for another 2, and I'm going to be going with Dak completion this week. I'm going to be playing him -110 on MGM right now. I'm playing a 2-unit spot here. I absolutely love Dak in this game. Yet again, I just talked about kind of how well that Chiefs run game slowed down with Taylor. I think that's huge because you've seen 20-something carries with Javonte pretty often, right? I mean, this is not like they're just doing like 10 carries anymore. Like Javonte's getting full, heavy workload, bell cow back type of carries and touches here. So obviously everybody talks about McDuffie. Obviously he's a fantastic corner out there, but again, he doesn't shadow. First off, he doesn't just like follow a single guy around. You can't do that against the Cowboys. They have 2 1s. If CD can catch, they have 2 1s. And I know last week there was the issue there. Dak ended up with 23, I believe, last week with 4 drops in that game. My thing too here is I think that the Cowboys can jump out on them. I do. I think that I was a little more nervous with Philly because they were a top 10 first half scoring team as well. But a lot of shit happened against the Cowboys in the first half. Like there was that interception in the end zone. Philadelphia got a couple of 3rd down conversions on a penalty that they should have obviously made something happen. There was the running into the kicker thing that really messed up some stuff as well. But the Cowboys are very, very good in the first half. They're the 3rd best first half scoring team in the NFL behind only Seattle and Indy. And mind you, Seattle's had a fucking – as much as I love them, they've had a couple of these cupcake games where they just run these scores up, right? And they just beat the piss out of these teams. So there's that one. And they're higher than the Rams. They're higher first half scoring team than the Rams, which I thought was pretty impressive. Wow. Going into this spot, if I get them at home, you got all the juice. You get even up 10, right? Even up 10. I think that gets the Chiefs to start passing the ball. And I want this to turn into one of those games where it turns into Mahomes and Dak going back and forth. I don't know if Reed's going to want to start that way. I think they're going to try and, keep Dak off the field as much as possible, but we know what this is going to get to. We all know what it's going to get to. It's going to be put on both quarterbacks to make something happen. And I hope it's one of those games where it's the last guy with the ball is the guy who wins the game. Also, just a little bit more fun fact, the top 2 passing yards per game are in this spot. I have that bet. I have my futures bet on Dak in that one. He is 3 yards behind Mahomes. He's the only guy ahead of him. That's Mahomes is 3 yards more per game than Dak, because obviously Drake May is in first, but he's got his bye. So this is our chance. This is our chance to really stick it right here. So also, I think with Schottenheimer there, a lot more than McCarthy. I'm trusting him a lot more that if they are up 10-14 in this game at any point, they're not just going to sit on the ball. Like, I feel like Schottenheimer does not play that way. Like, this dude's trying to run it up. He's trying to get these guys ahead. Like, we've seen what happens with Mahomes. So if the Dallas does get out to that fast start, like I think they do, I don't see it as Dak only throws the ball 30 times. Dak's getting 35 pass attempts easy in this game. The books kind of gave you that number as well. So sign me up, baby. I want those underneath completions early in the game, and then maybe we take a couple deep, take the top off the defense.
Yeah, no, you can't take your foot off the gas against Patrick Mahomes. And Schottenheimer's smart enough to do that. And people complain about Javonte usage, getting too many carries sometimes, but it's like they use the run game to open up play action. They use it in a very intelligent way. And I expect them to do that whether they're behind or ahead. And like you said, obviously, if they're trailing, the completions are going to be there. The volume's going to be there. But, if they're in a good game script, if everything's going perfect, this is a team that's going to keep passing as well. So it's hard to argue anything against Dak, especially against this defense right here, which is good, but they're cover too heavy. They sit back in those conservative zones, and they'll let you kind of dink and dunk a little bit and slow the game down, which is good at least for getting those completions numbers up. So I like the spot right here. Obviously, picking between Pickens and Lamb is really hard. We kind of say it every single week, but McDuffie's probably going to see both of them. I'd imagine he sees Lamb when he's on the outside mostly, and Pickens sees Warren a little bit more. But yeah, either way, I like the spot.
Yeah. I wanted to get your takes. Obviously you talked me into Ferguson as well last week. I did bet his complete receptions. He did get there. Any thoughts on that across the middle, maybe with some of those tight ends? What do you think about those matchups before we move on to game 3 where your bets will be in?
Yeah, stylistically, it makes sense. They have some solid, it's a good matchup, honestly. I played, obviously, Warren last week against the same defense. They allow a lot of completions. I haven't looked at what Ferguson numbers are. I would assume it's 4.5 catches, right? That's where I feel like he finds himself a lot. Let's see. Yeah, 4.5 minus 130. So, yeah. That if it was plus money or something, I would have probably played it already, but I think the minus 130 range is kind of fair. But I like Ferguson. The only thing is they do play a lot of those multi-linebacker lineups where they're kind of waiting for you to check it down a little bit. But yeah, he should be able to get this, I think. I just would prefer a little bit better price,
For sure. We got 130 guys across Twitter and YouTube. Looking like we got you guys ready to switch over to game 3, right? We get to go on to game 3 here with the Bengals and Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow makes the thumbnail this week. Joe Burrow moved this line 4.5 points on his own there. Bengals at the Ravens, -7 towards the Ravens right now. Was -11. Over under at 51.5. Stu, crazy. What a slate for DFS, bro. What a 3-gamer, dude. Phenomenal slate here. What are you thinking about this one? Obviously, I know we got a bet in this game as well. What is your thoughts on this game as we start moving into it?
Yeah, I got a ton of bets on this game. Actually, I bet under 52.5 already, which you can still get at -115 on Hard Rock and FanDuel. And then I bet the Ravens -7 as well. I like the under more. I think the under's the better look. The Ravens couldn't even run the score up on the Jets defense. They could barely win that game. I know the Bengals are not a good defense either, but man, at least they at least slowed down the Patriots in the first half of that last game. At least, if there's not a defensive touchdown, that game goes way, or 2 defensive touchdowns, sorry, that game goes way under. So I don't know if the Ravens are the team that is leading early and they're able to set their tempo, a lot of Henry, some more Keaton Mitchell as well. I think it's going to be a pretty slow game. And then on the Bengals side, Joe Burrow coming back from injury pretty much 2 weeks before people expected when it was first diagnosed. Who knows what we're going to get from him as well, right? Like that's a little bit concerning on just like it's a mixed bag. It's obviously going to be an upgrade, I think, for offensive purposes, just in general for the pass catchers. But yeah, I just feel like there's a lot of uncertainty with the Bengals side. We know their defense is bad, and the Ravens, man, we've been waiting for one of these explosion games for a while, but they're not even really looking good against bad teams. So I like the under the most in this game. I think I just have a hard time seeing to get there unless Joe Burrow is just back in Joe Burrow form immediately, which is possible. I don't want to like discount that. That's within the realm of outcomes. But I want my bets to reflect like Joe Burrow possibly sucking as well, and then having the upside of them being good. So I like the under in this game.
I know I should know this, but did they officially rule out T. Higgins?
Yeah, he's not playing.
Officially? Okay. Officially ruling him out. Obviously, Jamar Chase back. Yeah, dude, I don't know about you, man, but this might be one of the best DFS 3-game slates I've seen in a while, man. Like, this is – you got a ton of high-end receivers. Obviously, you got your tight-end running backs. You got Henry and Chase Brown here. I'm pissed that I can't bet on Roquan yet, bro. I'm pissed that they're not giving me that tackles. I need that.
Money.
If they give me 8.5, I'm fucking hammering that shit, bro. But they don't have it up yet. I haven't found it on any book. So if anybody is on here right now, right, we got like I said, 135 of you guys across YouTube and Twitter. Either DM me on Twitter, drop it in the comment section. The second you see a Roquan Smith drop, you shoot me a message, bro, and I need to go find where you're at because I need to put that bet in. Because if they're giving me like an 8.5, bro, like that's got to be there. Even a 9.5 plus money, I'll be taking that because it feels like a Roquan game on Thanksgiving for sure.
I'm with you 1,000%. I'll be betting that as well. 100. It makes so much sense for this matchup, especially. And Joe Burrow, Joey checkdowns coming back in as well. I mean, Chase Brown, no Higgins as well. So obviously, Jamar Chase is probably going to run 10, 15 routes of less than 5 yards himself as well. So just all kinds of short yardage passes, tons of assist opportunities. And then also Chase Brown, sneaky, got almost like 20 carries last week as well.
Yes, he did.
And it worked pretty well against a team that he's their highest rusher. But also I did point that out on my write-up. Milton Williams being out is huge for the Patriots. Like he's so freaking underrated this year. It's actually insane.
For who? For the Patriots?
Yeah, that's why Chase Brown looked better. And had the best game against them all years because he was gone. But you still got to give Chase Brown credit because that's still a good run stuffing team. So, yeah, no, I like that. I like that look a lot.
Joe Burrow comes in with a 24.5 completions line immediately when he gets back in.
Well,
that's tough.
At like 9, you know? So you got to pencil a 9 and build from there. And once you do that, you go, okay, it kind of makes more sense, you know?
Yeah, Chase is plus 105 for 9 catches. And honestly, I feel like that's a pretty good bet, to be honest. Because that's going to be that's going to be Sprinkle City right there. But I know you have a bet in this game, Stu, so I will let you talk about it. I don't know if you want to do your second one in this game right away, but we'll go right to it right here.
Sounds good. Yeah, I mean, last week you were on an island and you kind of inspired me. I think more people will probably bet this, but I think a lot of casual fans will look at this and go, oh, he's only had 20 yards once this year. Like, I do not want to bet this at all. And I get that. It's kind of harder to get to a guy when he hasn't really shown it to you, right? He hasn't given you, but we know what likely is. He's an athletic tight end that mostly just serves as a wide receiver. You know, he's not really going to be inline blocking a ton. They got Andrews for that. They got Kohler for that. Likely he's out there in 12 personnel and he's running routes from the slot mostly. And when you look at this Bengals defense, man, they have been like so easily the worst team in football against the tight end. Because when I was doing research for Drake May longest completion last week, I realized more tight ends had covered that quarterback longest reception than wide receivers this year, which I have never seen. And I've been betting these markets every year since they were invented, like 3 years ago or so. So, I mean, not only are tight ends like crushing them, they're like destroying them downfield, huge yards after catch opportunities, like just tons of volume. So I like his regular props too. I like 24, I like 25, whatever it's at right now. But to me, if he's going to get there, it's likely going to be because like so many tight ends before him, he breaks one of these big ones. 10 separate tight ends have had 25 yards against them over their last 7 games. And when you look at the Likely side, he just fits the mold. Mark Andrews is still good, but Likely's way more explosive. He's got the athleticism edge, and they're still going to be taking advantage of those same linebacker matchups. And once again, this is all me saying I like the under in this game. I don't think it's going to be quite as fast-paced as people do. I still think they're likely going to be trailing. I think they're going to have to so the Bengals are going to be likely trailing in this one, but how do you get there against the Bengals? How do you build that lead up? It's passing all over them. It's the secondary. They have one good player. I always forget his last name. DJ Turner, I want to say. The Michigan
I know it's Turner. I don't remember his first name.
Okay, yeah, Turner. Then yeah. DJ Turner. So he's really good. He's been very good this year. Honestly, top 10 corner in football. But like, who are you taking out? Zay Flowers a little bit, but Flowers is going to be in the slot probably some. Like, they don't have answers. He's going to take out Rashad Bateman and DeAndre Hopkins, which is like fine, whatever. The blueprint is clear in this game. It's tight ends. It's over the middle. And this offense has looked so bad. They need a spark. They need a 30-point game. They need something to get them going in the right direction here because they just haven't been impressive. And Lamar Jackson, the other thing too, he's not running at all. He's passing up clear rushing lanes and trying to pass, which is saying that despite what he might say in the media about being healthy, it doesn't look like he wants to trust his legs. It doesn't look like he wants to run right now. So when you're passing up those runs, it's more checkdowns, it's more passes to those, over the middle kind of guys, and likely just fits that role. So I know it's a little bit ugly because the production hasn't been there on paper. He still does have 3, 3, and 5 targets over his last 3 games. Over his last 5, he's still third in team target share. Like, he's still out there. He's still involved. Their just overall passing game hasn't been that good. But against a Bengals defense that is so easy to take advantage of, I think this is kind of where they hit that spark. So I like Likely right here. I think it's a little bit under the radar. But yeah, they're just so bad against tight ends. I know Andrews is the number 1, but Likely's the receiving guy. He's, I feel like, the weapon, and that's kind of what I want to take advantage of against these linebackers.
Yeah, what book is this one? I saw DraftKings is sitting 15.
Yeah, everyone except DraftKings pretty much.
DraftKings the only one.
Has 13, and then like ESPN, a couple of those, and then Caesars has 14, MGM 14 as well. So DraftKings is the only one that's sitting at 15 up there. And rather than 15, I'd probably rather just play like 24 yards or whatever. But the 13 and the 14 are everywhere else.
Okay, awesome. Alrighty. I know we got a couple questions. I want to get to a couple questions before we move on to Friday's game with the Eagles and the Bears. Got our guy Thomas in here. Love Andrews this week. Is there would you take them both? What's your thought on that?
I would. Although I like Andrews kind of like a parlay piece because he's up to almost 40 yards now. I kind of like bringing it down a little bit. But I would play both. I think they're both going to have good games. And I would have played Andrews touchdown, but it's like even money. You know what I mean? You're not even getting like a good price on it. Yeah. They've given up by far the most tight end touchdowns as well. So let me see what it is. But plus 110 is best, minus 105 on DraftKings. So you're not getting much value on my boy Mark at this point. But yeah, I do like both tight ends. I think they both should have good games, especially if it's close. Like if the Bengals score first or the Bengals look good early, I'm probably live betting even more on both these guys because it just means more passing.
Yeah, that's a good point. Definitely a good point there on those. Thomas bringing up Gibbs as well, over 4.5 receptions, small ladder. Yeah, I'm nervous on that one. I'm nervous against – I don't mind. I just saw Montgomery have 3 catches last week, so he was out there for some of those. I would maybe take your longest reception, but I don't think I would take a volume one just because I also have a lot more trust in the Packers linebackers than most, being a fan. So –
but here's what I'll say to that, though. Who's going to catch short yardage passes? You guys are one of the best teams in football. You allow one of the lowest deep throw rates in football. They have no Sam Laporta, and Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be the clear, guy drawing defensive attention. Who gets those short yardage passes? No Khalif Raymond. You don't even have other slot guys or anything like that. Like, someone has to get them. And Gibbs is like leading the fucking league in target share since Dan Campbell has taken over. So, and also, you guys don't defend the flats either. You guys have good linebackers, but you leave that spot wide open all year long. Even when Quay Walker was there, you guys have been diced by running backs. So I'm the opposite almost. I would rather go receptions just because when in doubt, who are you going to dump it down to? You don't have Laporta anymore. Amon-Ra's probably getting double coverage, and you got Gibbs one-on-one versus a linebacker. You take that against really any linebacker in football, in my opinion. So yeah, that's just my counter argument because they got to check it down to somebody. You know what I mean? Like somebody has to be that option. I just don't know who else it could even possibly be.
Yeah, I'm just curious how it's gonna work. I've watched obviously enough there, and we saw a lot of like pressure on Goff last week. I saw a lot more pressure on Goff than I was expecting in that game. Obviously, Sewell is just a monster. He does his own thing, whatever. But my issue is you're probably going to need to keep the back in there, like a little more than you need to normally, especially if Brock Wright's out. If Brock Wright's out, then fuck, dude. What are they? They're just not going to run a tight end in any of these and just have him stay in to block because they've been running Parsons over the nose guard. Like he's been running it like blitzing behind the nose tackle, which I don't know. And I get it. I know that we're going to try to dump it off, but like if I was watching these Giants put pressure on them in like a second and a half, and that worked last week getting it out there because they really didn't have, I was assuming they probably didn't think they were going to give up pressure that fast either. But now you're going in here and like, I don't know, the Packers have one of the better pass rushes in the league in terms of pressure rates. So I'm curious what they're going to do. Maybe it's just more of Montgomery staying in the block on some of those. I don't know. But I don't know. I feel like that's kind of what happened in that game last week where I'm just kind of nervous where you're going to need to have somebody chip something. And if there's no right there, you can't run the two tight end set. I don't even know who. Like you brought up Dwelly. I don't even know what else they're going to do. It's going to be Wright and Dwelly as your two tight end sets. Like that's makes me a little nervous in that spot. That, like I said, that Laporta issue, it sucks because he is a very, very good tight end. Probably put him in the top 5 tight ends in football. But I don't know. I guess if you just want to just straight dump it right away, I guess, or run more screens that way, I think that the reason I say the longest reception is just screens.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I just think like I'd rather have Gibbs 2 yard, like check down behind the line of scrimmage in space than try to have Goff throw with 1 second. And I think they're going to have that same kind of philosophy. Just get these guys the ball in space. I actually like Monty receiving too. Just nobody's even really posted it yet. But yeah, no, I mean, it's just one of those things that I just in my head, like I'm just trying to solve that puzzle of like who else would be the guy? Someone messaged me about Tesla, but it's like Tesla has only ever run downfield routes in preseason and everything like that. All of his catches were either like bombs or in the end zone. So I don't see him at all being able to kind of emulate that slot role, which they kind of need. And all they've really got is Raymond, who's out. You know what I mean? So who takes that role? I don't know. So I just think Gibbs is going to have to. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Monty backfield Gibbs motion out to the slot a couple times as well and just go one-on-one there because, I mean, ever since Campbell's become play caller, it's been crazy. The thing is, though, it opened at 27.5 yards and got instantly bet to 34.5, which to me is kind of like, that's a little bit more fair. That's a little bit like, yeah. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. Just with the way the Packers try to limit these explosives, I think you could just really see one of those 7-8 catch kind of games, even if he only ends up with 21, 23 yards. It's nothing crazy. But it kind of depends on how the game flow goes as well.
Yeah, no, I liked the game plan last week from Halfley. He looked pretty good. So I'm hoping that continues in that spot too. And let's take a peek here quick. Yeah. And honestly, dude, I think that Steelers game really just fucked every single piece of data up for tight ends against the Bengals because they had 4 tight ends score? Was it 4 tight ends score or was it 3? Yeah, 3. But like 300 yards. So it was just
but if you take that game out, they're still the worst team in football by a decent chunk as well against that. Like it's actually just been that bad. So Ian Hartz, I think, posted a chart, which was pretty funny where like, it's one of those where Bengals are all the way up here and then the whole rest of the league's just like in a cluster. So yeah, they just don't have linebackers. And once again, Logan Wilson literally got benched on this team. They were like, this guy can't even cover. We got to put in our trash rookies. And they obviously were not any better either.
Yeah. No, but I remember watching that game. That was like a Sunday night game, right? Where they just gave up like fucking 3 touchdowns to all of those guys. Yeah, I don't know if I'd bet assists. I don't like betting on those because Roquan makes so many solos. I always have issues trying to guess solos versus assists there. But all right, last game, Stu. I know we both don't have a bet in this one, but I would like to talk about it because We will have our Friday show, but the Friday show is specifically for Sunday games. We have Bears at the Eagles, -7, with a 8-3 Bears team. I already told you guys in my last show that I did bet the Bears not to make the playoffs at plus money. Already, I got plus 110 on that. I'm ready for it, dude. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for the demise and the fall of it coming right here. And I hate having to trust on my boy Sirianni because I think the guy still has one of the more punchable faces in the NFL. But what's your thought here, Stu? What's your thought here with the 8-3 team as a 7-point dog on the road?
Is the total 51 in this game, or is that wrong? I feel like that's wrong.
I think it's wrong. I think I typed it from a different game.
The last game. Yeah, from the last game.
I typed it from the last game.
I'll take a max.
44.
I'll take a max on the under. 51 and
I think I don't know why I auto flipped it. I think it was the same as the last game.
Yeah,
51 and a half was the Bengals game.
No, that makes sense. But 7 kind of feels right. I mean, the Bears are like obviously a fraudulent team. Like obviously, with how much
I try to say that to all the Bears fans, and you just get they feel like I'm gonna get chokeslammed.
Well, like if you're like a Bears fan and you're looking at this game, like I know our guy Plus Money Bob comes in here. I know we got a couple Bears fans. Like
Dan Tomlin's a Bears fan. All that
guys that like who do you see really taking advantage of this? Like who? Like I feel like you need Caleb Williams to step up. And when you need that, I get a little bit scared. I'm not going to lie. Because within kind of the system and stuff, when things are going right, it's been good. Even last week in a kind of chaotic game that kind of went under the radar a little bit. Like the Steelers on paper are one of the worst pass defenses in football. You know what I mean? They're solid. But like on paper, they are really bad. And the Eagles have some weaknesses. You know, the cornerback 2 position, Ringo, obviously, you know, anyone outside of Mitchell. But I don't know if the Bears are like the team to take advantage of that. Like Odunze has some solid games, but when you get physical with him, when you kind of bully him a little bit, he's not really a wide receiver 1. I like Luther Burden. I think he might probably be their best wide receiver on their team. But I don't know if they've realized that yet. You know, he's getting more usage, but he took over Zacchaeus. But like, we need to take a couple more steps up.
That's like the bottom rung.
Exactly. Yes. That should happen probably in preseason. You know what I mean? But either way, when you look forward and when you keep going, like Eagles have been good against tight ends all year as well. Like even though schematically you kind of expect there to be some opportunity, they've been good. And like Loveland is now splitting with Cole Kmet again, who's back and stuff. Like, I don't know. When I look at this, I'm just like, who's going to really step up for the Bears and win them this game? And I don't really know if I have the answer. I guess on the ground would be the answer. That's how they've established a lot of what they're doing. I don't know if they're really going to be able to do that in this game. Like, I like Monungai, honestly. I'm a fan of his, tough runner. But I don't know. I just don't see the path to victory. But am I going to let Eagles -7? Absolutely fucking not. So I guess I'll take. I don't even know. I'll take. I was gonna say the under, but I don't even like the under, honestly, because like the Bears could probably garbage time it up, or I don't know. I'll say the under, whatever. I don't have a strong take on the side or total here. They're pretty fair in my opinion.
All right. Quick question before I get into what I like here. I have the Browns defense and I have the Eagles defense this week. Who are you playing? We have the Browns at home against Brock Purdy and the Niners. Or are you playing the Eagles at home against this Bears team? Who obviously we're expecting a little bit of regression. Who are you playing here?
I mean, I play the Browns at home. Yeah, they when you have to travel, it gets a little tougher, but they're awesome at home. So, and Purdy, I mean, the thing is, I just don't like run-heavy teams for defenses because it limits your sacks, turnovers. But hey, even in those limited opportunities last week, my boy still threw 4 picks. So you know, obviously that's going to lead to a more conservative game. But hey, that probably means a couple more sacks, maybe get the fumble. I'd probably just start Cleveland the way they're playing right now.
Yeah, I made my mistake of one time benching them and they put up a fucking 20. So
yeah, it hurts.
They're just so freaking good, dude. So good. What I kind of like and what I'd lean here is I think I like that Bears first half team total under 10.5. You're getting a little juice on the 10.5. I don't mind the 9.5 at like -115, -110. I like both of those. The Eagles are very, very good first half team, especially at home. The Bears are a very good first half team at home, where they average almost 16 points per game, but now they only average 11 on the road. And you're going into Philly. And I just don't know where I don't know how they're going to be able to move the ball, because the only way everything works is they get it off a play action and everything's in rhythm, right? And everything's on time. What happens when it's not? What happens when you can't run the football? What happens when you have to do some off-script plays and do the things that we don't want Caleb Williams to do, because that's when he gets in trouble and he throws the ball into double coverage and we start seeing all the mistakes. I don't know. I think this Eagles defense is a tough ask for this Bears offense, especially when you have a guy like, who do I trust to win a one-on-one matchup? If Roma Dudze is with Quinyon Mitchell, who's winning those other matchups, right? I mean, like, I don't know. And winning in enough time that you actually don't get sacked, right? Because Caleb Williams does his little running for his life, but I don't know. I just feel like this is a very tough ask for the Bears, especially on like a Friday night in Philly. Those Philly fans, man, they're crazy. You know they're going to be out there, man. Black Friday, they're probably out at 5 a.m. Probably got 6 or 7 coffees in them by game time, probably 20 beers. I'm ready. I like it when they're not playing the Packers, right? When I don't have to deal with them playing the Packers. I'm like, when they're going against another rival, I definitely enjoy it. I think this is going to be a fun game to watch, especially as a Packer fan.
Yeah, Caleb Williams only has 4 picks this year, and you're still not even really getting plus money. It's around minus 110 for an interception, which I think could be a solid bet, honestly. Because if he is forced to pass in these heavy game scripts, we haven't seen that as much. And even when you look back at their recent opponents, right, you got freaking the Ravens with Huntley, I believe, right? Wasn't that a freaking Huntley game? Because I bet on them and that was their last loss. Then Cincy, okay, congrats. The Giants, congrats. Minnesota in a close game that you should have made look easier, I guess. And then Pittsburgh in a close game that probably should have looked a little easier as well. So it's the strength of schedule during this run has been like kind of mediocre at best. So you get a good Eagles team here off of an embarrassing loss. The real question, I think, on everybody's mind, and I want to see what his prop is Saquon going to be able to run the fucking ball? Because that's why I'm sitting here deciding between the over and under. If Saquon can run the ball, this should be over. But he hasn't been able to run the ball all year long. He's freaking falling over his feet every 5 seconds out there as well when he does have an open hole that could have ended the game last week. So I don't know. It's one of those that's like, I don't know, 76.5 rush yards. It's like, I know that feels too high. He's not been good this year. I know he's probably touching it 18 times. I bet freaking Tank Bigsby 11 yards, not publicly, but bet it still last week. The guy gets an 8-yard carry. They're like, all right, you're done for the day. You overshadowed Saquon. Get the fuck out of here. Like, what are we doing? Bigsby looks good every time he touches the ball. We need to be getting him 5-6 carries minimum a game. So I don't know. This coaching staff is really dumb for the Eagles. And at that point, how am I going to go to 7 points? Because once again, last year I got roasted. Oh, you guys won in spite of Sirianni, like he was not. And then this year we're back to, okay, fire Sirianni again. It's like, man, pick a lane, Eagles fans. Pick a lane. You guys wanted to fire him like 3 times, then said he's the best coach in football the other half the time. Like, pick one. Either ride with your guy or not. Because if I was an Eagles fan, at least I'd be like, well, he's an asshole. I kind of like that. You like when the asshole's on your team. You don't like going against him, But these guys are really flippy flopping on him. And obviously offensive coordinator, I can't believe he wasn't fired after last week, honestly. I know it's incredibly late in the season, but I feel like you got to do something at this point.
Yeah, speaking of flipping and flopping, I have a buddy who's a Bears and a Cubs fan, and he's just like, oh, my God, dude. It just brainwashed. And like this is my crazy thing is it always happens like this. Like the Cubs and Brewers, he's like, when the Brewers ended up winning, he was talking all this shit because they came back and they pushed it to Game 5. And then they lost. And guess what his thing is? He talks all this shit during the whole round, and guess what happens? You guys were the 1 seed, bro. You should have won. You should have won faster than that. You gotta go, like, if you're gonna talk shit, right? But don't go flying back after some bad shit happens, because it's gonna happen, right? There's only one team who wins, bro. So yeah, love to, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. I have a lot of buddies that are Bears fans. I live about, hour 20 from Chicago. So
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, that was my bet I put in. I only had plus 110. Shout out to you. Got a plus 140. Fuck yeah, dude. That's a great bet. Because they have to go.
Yeah. And with the Sirianni thing too, I'm curious if you put a poll out to Eagles fans, what percentage of them would pick Mike Vrabel over Nick Sirianni? Because they're the same guy, except Mike Vrabel has an amazing locker room where everyone says this is like the best coach ever. And Nick Sirianni can't get 2 freaking potential Hall of Famers to like each other enough to fucking operate an offense. Like, if you're not going to be some genius analytical mind, at least have good game management, which he really doesn't have any, like, middle of the pack, I guess, or be able to control your locker room, which he has not been able to do. They're probably going to have to fucking trade AJ Brown at the end of the year because he can't get these guys on the same page. Like, if you're not going to be a technical coach, then you've got to make up for it in other ways. And it really seems like he's not very good at that when things aren't going well. When things are going well, they're all, oh, we're the villains, everything's good. But when you face some problems, like, you got to be able to adapt from that. So I don't know. I just think it really reminds me so much. I've said it every time with Davey Martinez from my Nationals when we won the 2019 World Series in spite of him. And I was like, fuck, we won. We have to extend this guy for 5 more years now because he's the worst. And then it was shown time after time that was absolutely the case, because some guys you can front run, you can be good when you have Hall of Famers across the board, which is what the Eagles did and still pretty much do. But I don't know, it gets a little bit tougher when you face some adversity and you actually have to use those brain cells that they pay you for. So, yeah, not a Sirianni guy. And obviously the OC has been brutal so far this year, just absolutely brutal. So I think the Eagles win, but it's just that's what's stopping me from laying 7 points on them, especially after what we saw last week. And honestly, Saquon's struggles are big, you know?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got 213 of you guys in here across both sites. We appreciate you guys joining us. If you could go over on YouTube, hit that like button for us. I think we're at like 8, I think we're at like 10 over there. So let's go hit that like button quick. George Pickens officially practiced today. Just got that update, so he'll be ready to go. Obviously, there. I know he still had the Q tag. Got to put that out there. Just make sure that everybody knows. All right. Before we get into our recap here, Stu, thoughts on Montgomery over 9.5 receiving yards from our guy Tyrone?
I'm a big fan, but it's not out there, so it's only on MGM. So, no comment until it's posted a little bit on more books, okay? Then I'll have an official comment on it. So, Yeah, I like it, though. I like it. But, yeah, it's not really up that I'm seeing at many spots right now.
Sounds good. Sounds good. We also have, I think there was one other one, Swift receiving. Any thoughts here, Stu? I know DeAndre Swift kind of getting, people are kind of hit or miss on him now that Monungai's there, right? And obviously had those couple huge games. So what is your thoughts on Swift here as we move forward? And also, what's your thoughts on his receiving yards in this game here before we get into our recap?
Yeah, it's pretty hard to bet either of these backs when they're going to be so 50-50. Multiple times they've kind of said it depends on how the game's going as well. Like Monungai just had his highest usage game, right, with both of them healthy last week, so that's really not a positive for Swift. But also Swift should, be the receiving guy, although Monungai's really not bad at it
either. He's not terrible.
Yeah, I would say 12.5 is low. I think it's a solid line, honestly. I really have no problems with that, especially if they're likely in the trailing game script. They're going to be forced to pass a little bit more. If that early run game is not going, if Monungai's getting stuffed up the middle, that's probably going to mean Swift gets right back into that, full heavy usage role. And he's more equipped to be that screen option, which we know that this OC Ben Johnson coach does not have any problem using. So I like it, honestly. I would have to look a little bit deeper into maybe what the Eagles are doing to limit the running backs. I haven't looked at that quite yet, but overall, I think Swift, from a game script perspective, from a usage perspective, I think it makes sense, especially with the market maybe being a little too down on him, despite the fact that I think it really just depends on how the game's going. That's who's going to get more usage,
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right, so let's get a quick recap in here, and we'll get these guys on their way, unless you have a long shot.
I can look real quick. We got Isaiah Likely over 13.5 longest reception, -110 over on FanDuel. It's 14.5 on Caesars, MGM. And if it gets any higher than that, I just go to yards at 25.
Sounds good. I will be rolling with my 2-unit spot. Dak over 23.5 completions at -110. I believe it's MGM right now. Best line available there. So, Stu, any long shots for you before we get out of here today? Full recaps through, obviously everything else is taken care of. Any long shots for you for this holiday slate?
Yeah, I don't have any yet, but I mean, it's kind of tradition to gamble away something. I'll at least quote tweet this with something, but I will say, like, maybe just backup tight ends, me. I mean, that's kind of my jam. Like, it looks like I'm scrolling through DraftKings. It looks like Ferkser is the backup for Brock Wright, So if he doesn't play, Ferkser is like 10-1, which is kind of fun. And obviously I would be Isaiah Likely if it was better than 220 for a touchdown, which, I mean, him being 220, Andrews being 100 or even money, like those aren't really good prices. But even your boy Fitzpatrick as well, he's pretty much the tight end one. I mean, Musgrave gets I would play Musgrave first quarter only. He gets a first quarter target, then they go, fuck it, we're gonna block for the rest of the game, and we're gonna put the big boys in for that instead. So that could be interesting. But I mean, I don't really have anything that crazy, honestly.
Awesome. I don't have a long shot yet either.
Ooh, Hopkins could be good. DeAndre Hopkins in that late game, that could be kind of solid against, I don't know. If that game has that high of a total, which, like I said, I like the under, but if the market's expecting that many points, it's probably not going to be Derrick Henry, all three of them. If Lamar's not running as much, you know what I mean? That could be something. But yeah, I don't have any luck. And I'll probably quote tweet this with some kind of cross game parlay or something like that, though.
I think a nice long shot, I think 11-1. Maybe a little Giannis triple double tonight. First game back against Miami. Gets that Heat team, bro. 11-1.
That's not fucking football, bro.
No, dude, I might have to. I'm gonna
save that for Christmas. Bookmark it. Save it for Christmas. Get that.
Playing the Heat now, so I have to. It's a tradition that anytime I have the Bucks play the Heat, I always say Giannis triple double because Bam's playing. So I always have to do that. But yeah, we have 4 games already hooked up through there. As always, guys, if you could.
Let me say one more. Christian Watson, 80 yards and a touchdown. I don't have that in front of me or whatever, but that's what I would do. One-on-one downfield opportunities. Watson cooks downfield. I think that your 30-plus yard catch, something like that. That would be the other in the early game if I was going to play a long shot right now.
Okay. All right. You heard it here. Thomas bringing up my boys up there before 145. Yeah. So I'm assuming that's season long for that. But hey, you should have seen my text to Stu last week, man. I said
that's pretty much what he's saying every week. Yeah, he wants 4,500 yards this week.
I don't know if I could look through, but I remember last week I'm like, you want to know what I said? What do you want to bet? You want to know what I'm betting this week? And I wrote Dak straight bet, Dak 300, Dak 350, Dak 400. And then I put 1, 2, 3, 4 touchdowns, and the dude almost cashed all of them. All I needed was 46 more yards, and I would have been able to have one of the more fun victory laps on that one because that was fucking epic. So hopefully that game lives up to the expectations. We'd love to see some more points in that one. So excited to have another Thanksgiving slate where we get to talk some football. As always, we'll probably be ready to go Friday. So make sure you guys are ready here Friday. We'll be talking about the Sunday slate, obviously a little smaller with the amount of games we have beforehand. But, yeah, we'll be here ready to go. So, Stu, anything else from you before we get out of here today?
Nope. We'll see you guys later in the week. Make sure, following over on Twitter. Like I said, I'll probably post a long shot or something like that. But, yeah, just ready to keep up, getting some winners in here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hit that like button over on YouTube. Obviously, appreciate all you guys from Twitter, X, joining us over there. 200 of you guys there live right now. We appreciate you. So talk to you guys on Friday. Be back, ready to roll, talking for that Sunday slate. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and we'll see you on Friday.